Okay. All right.
All right, and we're meeting via Zoom because the pandemic is still going on.
Oh, so for the February minutes, I remember these minutes and we didn't talk about them. So
Okay.
under director's report,
Mhm.
so right at the beginning, it says Lot 032 testing was done. If you just insert UIC testing, because it, because that was the testing that was done around the garage is the underground injection control program. So if you just put UIC in front of testing, that will clarify that
You know,
that
let's
testing
talk
was.
about this
okay.
because I wrote that in here.
No, I would have changed it in the minutes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
But did we just, I might have missed this, but did anyone just read the announcement that we're doing this via Zoom? Did I miss that?
Oh, we don't have to do that anymore.
Oh, we
No,
don't?
because, so there we go. So, yeah, okay. We're the only
Um,
ones still doing it, I've noticed.
Oh,
So
So,
I
yeah.
did notice that I forgot to put Tim as being present at the February meeting, which he was, and I forgot to put Kate. I put Kate as present, but not having voted on the November and December meeting minutes. So that was an error. So I fixed that.
Okay.
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 All right. I always make notes if I see something that needs fixing. And the only other thing I put was after the fourth line down after gasoline.
Yep.
I just added at the former radio tower, just to be clear.
What radio tower?
No,
Sorry.
it's the fourth line down. No soil
former
samples
radio
had
tower,
detectable
former radio.
levels of gasoline at the former radio
At
tower.
the former radio
I just
tower.
thought,
Got it.
just to make sure it's really clear. That's the only thing I noticed.
Okay.
Anybody else? You remember, Brad?
Nope, I don't have any to add. I move we approve.
Okay. You're making the motion? Okay, I'll second.
Yep.
All in favor? Guess we have to go to
Aye.
voice vote. Brad is a yes. Kate?
Yes.
Mel?
Yes.
Michelle, yes. Okay. Great, we're done with that. Okay, we'll have a quick library director's report. I didn't put the exact times on those dates. I just wanted to make sure people remember them.
We just have to approve the
Oh, I'm
March.
sorry, the statement. I
minutes, so-
forgot.
Yes, and that one, I've also forgot to put Tim, but I didn't put Kate, but so yeah, so just I added Tim as being present.
Okay. You
Yeah.
want to just read that statement? I mean, I think it's fine, but just that way so people don't have to pull it up.
Yeah, so it is the library board of trustees went into executive session. The executive session was ended. The meeting was adjourned. Next meeting, Monday, April 10th, 2023, 7:30 p.m.
The only thing I would add is I would add Donna McNichol, town council, as a guest.
Oh, right.
Good point,
Yeah.
yeah. That's very
How do you
good
spell
point.
McNichol?
MACNICHOL.
It's
I'll check
capital
if
N,
it's-
right?
Yeah, I'm gonna check and see if it's capital, where she puts the,
I think that sounds right.
a
Very long time
MAC
ago,
and
her
then
children
capital
were,
N, yes.
a very
okay.
long time ago, her children were in the Deerfield full-day preschool program when I was the
Okay.
early child coordinator down there.
So just to repeat that, it's MAC capital
Capital N,
NICHOL,
yes,
town council.
yep. And you spelled town council one of the ways you spell council. Could be SEL,
I'm assuming it's SEL, this
could
one?
be
It is.
SEL, it's one of
Yeah.
It
those.
is.
Yeah. It could be.
I think that's
There's
correct.
so many different ways to spell that word, you know?
Okay, we have our update from the library director then.
Let's see. We had the spring egg hunt on Saturday, and it was, there were about 100 people there. Was a really a wonderful time. So, back before I worked at the library, when my kids were really little, another Shutesbury mom and I started doing an egg hunt together because she thought there should be an egg hunt in town. So she approached the library director at the time, and the library director said, well, sure, if you want to work with a volunteer to run an egg hunt, go ahead. So we did. And then we did it for years, and then I even did it. And you know, if Easter, so we don't call it an Easter egg hunt, we just call it a spring egg hunt. But if Easter, but you have to do it on the weekend of Easter or nobody comes. So if Easter falls really early, sometimes we wouldn't do it. And then things kind of got a little crazy and out of hand a couple of times. So we stopped doing it. And last year we really thought, after 2 years of social isolation, that we needed to have in-person outdoor gatherings. So it was a perfect, easy thing to do. And then because it happened last year, people asked for it this year. And I'm so glad that we did it. It was a lovely time.
Where was
One
it?
woman showed up, a grandmother showed up, and she had a bag, and she goes, I brought ears for everyone, you know.
Oh,
So just someone from the community, you know. And,
so where did you hold it?
yeah, that was really nice. So, and then Library Giving Day was a smashing success. The total is, I think it's 181 donors, $53,500.
Wow.
And so just really incredible. An incredible affirmation of support for the new library project. So thank you all for being so supportive of it. So that was really good. So we're having a little bit of staffing issues. People are out sick or having other family issues. So I put out a call for subs, and I've had a couple of people come forward, so I'm going to talk to them. Of course, I have so much going on that it's even hard to just make time to talk to people to bring them on as subs, but there are a couple of people from the community who have expressed interest, so that's really good. Is Ella coming home for the summer?
Yes,
Oh, excellent.
and Ella very much would like to work over the summer.
Excellent, very good. But I'm gonna bring a couple of people on, and then have, some people have moved on or are busy doing other things. So just to have extra substitutes during this very busy time, it would be really good. And other than that, things are good. Those are sort of the highlights. Oh, let's see. I don't think I ever reported. I'll do it next month. I'm sorry, I haven't had time to do written director reports.
Okay.
It's
I
just,
think it's okay.
I'm helping with the public involvement plan. So when a release of hazardous materials is tier classified, then members of the community can petition to have a public involvement plan. So the gasoline release at Lot 032 at the site of the former radio tower is tier classified, and that is just, so there are different tiers of classification, and because it's potentially within 500 feet of a drinking well, it's tier 1 classified. And so a group of people has petitioned.
Is that high or low? Sorry. What does it mean?
It's just a number. It's, it's just a number. It's not, so it's just a definition that goes with it, so there's so a group of people has petitioned the town and the DEP to have this public involvement plan, which is really, it's just about how the town communicates my sort of benchmarks and milestones with this group and the community, and town hall doesn't have the capacity to manage it, and because it's lot 032 and I want to keep it moving and I want it to move smoothly, I'm helping with that. And it's, you know, it's good because I get to have conversations with DEP, and they're aware that we're building a library on lot 032, and they agree that that where the library is and where the radio tower was are, you know, are far enough apart that that the issues aren't connected. But it's important that I'm, you know, just involved in anything happening on lot 032. So we tried to do another round to put in another round of monitoring wells last Friday, and it was there were mechanical issues with the machine that they were using. The ground was really soft. It was just you know, just a frustrating failure of a day. But they're coming back later this week with a different, bigger machine. So they're going to put in 5 more monitoring wells in a bigger circle around the first set of wells. Well, it's actually the second set of wells, to just really pin down the perimeter. And then that will determine what the next step is. A likely next step is a removal of contaminated soil. And that would probably happen over the summer. So that's where we are. And then the other thing I've been working on is there was one area of wetlands, and it's referred to as bordering vegetative wetland 3, BVW 3, if you look on the maps, where there is some historic fill in, you know, adjacent to a wetland. And then there's another area where there's sort of a mound, and it's in BVW 2. And that mound is also historic fill. So all of this fill was there before the town owned the property. And the Conservation Commission would like the town to remove that fill. They can't compel the town to remove that fill, but they would like the town to remove that fill. So the town has approved funding to remove the fill and to do a notice of intent. It's a notice of intent to alter a wetland. And this is going to alter a wetland by improving a wetland. And the town is doing it because it's really the right thing to do, to restore the wetlands. So I've been working on that. And those things won't affect the siting of the library, but they're just things to keep in mind. And it's part of the whole thing.
Okay.
So, you have a question, Brad?
Question,
I
yeah.
think there's whatever that acronym is, number 3, I think that was an indeterminate line, and
Right,
this
right.
will determine the line. I don't, from what I've seen of the various designs and stuff, having that line move is not going to have any impact on us.
No.
But just to note that it has been indeterminate and it will be determined and it won't matter.
Right, right,
Okay.
right. And there is some, you know, there's still some, so it's one of the places. So in the summer of 2021, Becky arranged to have some debris piles removed from lot 032. And it's
Okay.
one of the areas where a debris pile was moved. And so Becky had debris piles removed. I arranged to have soil borings done as we were working on the grant application, because I just wanted to make sure that that we did some digging around looking for hazardous materials, and so that is one of the areas. BVW3 is of an area where we did a soil boring.
Mhm.
And there weren't any hazardous chemicals found there. And that was when so one of the areas where Becky had a debris pile removed and we did a soil boring was in the vicinity of the former radio tower. And so that's how this all got started. So anyway, so I'm continuing to see it through. And dealing with people being out sick or having family members that are sick, and major fundraisers, which are really exciting. And then just keeping, the bills paid and the lights on and all of those things. At least I'm not dealing with snow and ice and power outages. So
Brad, you have another question or comment?
This is my perpetual comment, because it's perpetually true. Marianne, whenever you make your reports, you say you're doing this and you're doing that and you're doing this and you're doing that. And it's huge. And as from the trustees, I want to say thank you. It's just amazing what you are getting accomplished, and the progress is fabulous, and you need our thanks all the time.
thank you.
True.
Thank you.
We wouldn't be this far along without you, Mary Ann, that's for sure.
We really wouldn't. We really
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Well, I'm doing this thing, so
No question.
Yes, all right. And you've all been helping, and you're not off the hook yet. So
So can you just make sure that we know the times for these next few things, like the PI, what is it, the PI? What is it? PIP?
public involvement plan, so the PIP,
Yeah.
so the
Sure we
next
know the
step
times.
is Wednesday evening. So probably maybe tomorrow, because it's ready. I think it's ready anyway. So a next step is for a public involvement plan document to be
Mhm.
drafted. So that's done. And then we'll post that on shutesbury.org. And then Wednesday evening, there'll be a meeting. The select board will host a meeting where the petitioners and any members of the public who want to come can come and ask questions about the document, the plan. And then there's a comment period. And I have to go back and look. I think there might have been a typo in an email that went out. So the comment period either ends May 5th or May 12th.
Oh, right, I remember seeing that, yeah.
And so people get to read the document and send comments in, and then the comments may be incorporated into the public involvement plan. It has to make sense. People's requests have to make sense and have to go along with what DEP requests. And this public involvement plan is release tracking number specific. So it is about the release of hazardous materials in the vicinity of the former Air Force radio tower.
Mhm.
It's not what might have happened further south on the lot. It's not what happened on the north end of the lot. It's the one place that hazardous materials were found and were tier classified. So people can make comments about other things, but they won't be incorporated into the plan. They'll be, any comments that are submitted get included in a repository of information. So they'll get, the town hall will keep a binder and they'll be in the binder, but they won't be part of the plan. And then as far as like next steps, either for testing or remediation, a licensed site professional determines those next steps. Lay people don't determine those
Yeah.
next steps. So at no point have I been directing what work happens. what I've been doing is consulting with licensed site professionals who have been advising the town on appropriate next steps. And then I've just been facilitating or helping to facilitate getting that work done.
Mhm.
So.
Great. And that meeting is at 6 o'clock on Wednesday, is that correct?
Yeah, 6 o'clock on
Okay.
Wednesday. It's posted as a select board on Zoom.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then the exciting one on Tuesday at 7. is
Yes,
schematic Design.
yes. So I
Yeah.
hope everybody can come to that.
Mhm.
So we're gonna, Brad and Elaine and Eric Stalker and I are gonna try and broadcast it on Zoom as a Zoom webinar. But the people will be able to see the presentation and I think you'll be able to hear the architect as he's speaking. But I think the audio isn't gonna be great. But the in-person, it'll be great, and I hope that
Yeah.
people can
Yeah.
come.
Yeah, I'm gonna come for sure. It's
Can I ask,
exciting.
what's the name of that meeting again? It's next Tuesday, right?
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Oh,
And-
shit, it's
yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah,
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
That
that's
just-
okay.
That's on the recording.
It's at the
Okay, so
elementary
it's
school,
tomorrow.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock at the school, and it's
Right.
a public forum for people to see the schematic designs for the new library.
Right. Okay, great, thanks.
You've been busy too, we know. So,
Anything else? That pretty much everything we need to know about. Okay, the only other thing I sent you the public comment policy from the collaborative, just because I work with them and I had to read some documents. I thought, oh, we really could have used this a while ago. And I know the building committee's been doing that and the select board, so maybe we just want to talk about what we think about having a public comment policy and what that should be, and then we could just, because we don't have a full committee tonight, I could type it up for next time and we could actually vote on it. But Elaine, I emailed Elaine Paleo because I knew that that's what they were doing, and she said, correct me if I'm wrong, you two that are on that committee, it's like the first 10 minutes of the meeting, and each person gets 3 minutes, and they only get to speak once if everybody hasn't had a turn who wants to speak. Is that correct? Basically. Any comments about how you feel like that's going, since you have that structure on the building committee?
It's nice in that it channels things. It opens things up, it invites people to speak, but it also channels it in a way that lets us get the rest of our work done. Elaine will sometimes call on someone outside of that, but she has the ability to not if we have work we have to do.
Mhm.
And anyway, I thought it worked fine. Often there's no public comment.
Mhm. I think when we were writing the building program, it could have been helpful to limit things more, because we did get interrupted a lot, even though we tried to sometimes not have too many interruptions, but I don't know. So what do you
In a
think about
way, it gives Elaine the ability to say, I'm going to deal with the committee members first.
Mhm.
And that's really useful.
Mhm. I mean, I don't know if we'll really need it again, but we could have used it when we had the building thing. That's all I could think of when I thought, wow, maybe it's just good to have a policy, and then we can limit it if things get heated ever again. Yeah, go ahead, Kate.
I agree. I really like the idea of having this policy. We're going to have a new building that we're going to be, moving into and shaking out. And I don't know what the term of the building committee is. Like, is it all the way through, getting it up and running, or is it just like through the punch list or whatever? But I think that, we should expect some public comment and interest after the building's open. And I think it would be really good for us to have a transparent policy in place
Mhm.
before that. I imagine that's the next place where we're really, going to be re-engaged in a public process. I mean, there may be other things that I'm not seeing, but anyway, it gives us two things. It gives us a little bit of time to make sure that we get something that we're comfortable with. Although I think what you sent us is a great, it might be more detailed than we need. I don't know. I'm sort of agnostic about that, but I just really appreciate your bringing it up, Michelle.
Yeah, well, because I was reading these because I work for the collaborative, I had to read all of their policies, and I went, oh, we really should have one of these, because I knew the building committee did, but I hadn't really thought about it ever before, and I'm like, I think it would have really helped us limit some of the people that were just sort of trying to dominate and interrupt. And despite our best efforts, sometimes it would have been nice to just revert back to a policy and say, the comment period's over. You can email us. Okay. Okay, it doesn't need to be this detailed, but you think like the way the one from the collaborative, also what Elaine said is she allows 3 minutes per speaker. And the collaborative one says they may permit an extension of the time limit. All the remarks are supposed to be addressed to the chair of the meeting. I think Elaine said, and I think they might say this here too, I don't remember, I read it a while ago, the thing about if there's a number of people, you get one turn. So that everybody who wants to have public comment has the opportunity. And I think the lane limit is 10 minutes, isn't that right? The first 10 minutes of the meeting? I think I'm pretty sure that's what she told me in the email.
Yeah, she's set aside 10 minutes. It doesn't always take that long.
Mhm. I think
But
you're
yeah.
right, Kate. I think especially when like how people want to use the building and things like that, there's bound to be a lot of opinions about a lot of things.
Yeah. And it sort of occurs to me that we should not do this now, but that we would, should think about whether there's policies that we're going to need to serve a new building that we don't need now. Not
Mhm.
pile this on Marianne, but maybe ask some trustees from newly built libraries. I bet Lauren and Andrea could be willing to help us just to make sure that we're ahead of where we
Mhm.
need to be instead of behind. Just when I think about all the things that Marianne is doing, I can't see you, Marianne. So if you're like shrieking and monkey in fear, I can't see that, but not trying to pile this on you, but I do think that we could do a little bit of work as trustees.
Yeah. Well, that's what made me think of this too, is like be ready for the next time we need it. Hi, Tim. We're just talking about the idea of having a public comment policy, like the building committee has, the select board has one. And I work for the collaborative part-time, and I had to read all their policies and check off that I'd read them. And so I was reading the public comment that they have for their board, and I thought, oh, we really could have used that. There were times that some people just were really dominating, and we may need it in the future. So what we're talking about is like similar to maybe what the building committee has. They allow 10 minutes at the beginning of the meeting. Each speaker gets 3 minutes. You don't get a second turn if other people haven't had the opportunity to speak. And it's up to the chair to decide if a person gets an extension on their time or gets to speak again. And they're supposed to direct their thing to the chair. I don't know if is that what you said, Brad? Or did I read that from the collaborative?
No, I think that's right.
It's
I mean,
in the one that you sent to direct it to the chair.
Mhm. Which makes sense. And then they could defer to, say, if you had just made a comment about something, Tim, that I could say, well, all right, Tim can respond, or you can, I think that's what that means.
And I think that's kind of helpful
Okay.
because it reduces multiple responses or possibly multiple emotional reactions if something negative is being said.
Mhm.
I think it makes sense.
Okay. Well, I could probably write something that's pretty simple, and send it to Kate, and have Kate look at it, and then we could share it the.
Did you guys review the one that you had sent out?
We didn't review it specifically. I was picking out a few items from it. I think it's probably more than we need, but
Because it did look, nicely comprehensive.
yeah, I don't know. Does the select board have anything written, Marianne?
Muted.
I don't know. I don't know if they have anything written. The building committee doesn't have anything written. It's just
Right,
something that
right.
that Elaine said at the beginning.
Mhm.
And I think it can be written, and I think that sort of committee procedures don't have to be written. It could be part of the minutes, right? It
Right,
could be a
right.
standard, but I also think it could just be as simple as trustees meetings are working meetings, and we
Mhm.
welcome and encourage public comment. We'll set aside the first however much time of each meeting for public comment. If multiple members of the public want to make comments, we'll limit comments to a certain amount of time and one
Right.
comment per person.
Right. I think it doesn't
yeah.
need to be complicated. I agree. I think that would be
Right.
fine. But I do feel like we should have a policy so that we don't run into a problem in the
Yes,
future, because some of those meetings were extremely challenging, as we all remember.
They were, and also I think it's better for people when they're coming to a meeting to know what to expect. It's fairer
Exactly.
for the public for
I
us to
agree.
have this stuff up front.
Yeah, I agree.
In a minor way, it's also visible in the agenda because Elaine puts it as I think what she eventually said was up to 10 minutes because it doesn't always take anything. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's the first item. And so anybody who looks at the agenda will see, well, that's when the public comment happens.
Right, right. I think a lot of times we let people do that, and we also let them make comments during the meeting, and that's sometimes when we got sidelined. And I remember one time we had too much work to do. I remember I was chairing that night, and I said, we're going to save public comment for the end, because I wanted to make sure we had, I don't know, we also had a million things to look at, or the grant application, something that was really dense that night. And I just knew that we couldn't get sidelined from it. But anyway, and I think I remember cutting somebody off at the end saying the meeting was over. Okay, I'll draft something and share it with Kate, and then she can edit it, and we'll send it out before the next meeting.
Awesome, thank you.
And
I
I think
don't know if you guys talked about it, but, and it's a little off topic, but since everyone's here, I didn't hear the results of Giving Tuesday yet.
Thoughts?
We did go through that. I'm have very limited time. So if
Okay.
rather than
I'll
going
find out.
through it again, I can leave and you can continue. Is there any more?
let's pick our time for the next meeting, and then then we could.
Yeah.
The third Monday is the 15th. Oh, yeah, that's my daughter's birthday. I'd rather not do that night if we didn't have to. What does the 22nd look like this in May? Is that too late, or do you want to do the 8th?
I don't know that we have any prep for annual meeting this year. Mary
I
Ann,
hope not.
sense of that? The 22nd seems fine.
It's fine. That work for everyone?
I'm not sure. Nancy's in Chicago, and we've got to take her down to Boston for some procedures, and I don't know what day it is without her calendar. I just know it's in May,
Okay.
so I can't 100% confirm.
Okay. Do you want to do it the 22nd, and then you can just let us know whether you can make it or not?
Sure.
Okay.
I could do the 8th if that matters. I could do either of those 2 dates.
Okay. Anybody else have a preference?
No
Excuse me?
preference.
let's do the 22nd if that's okay.
Okay, sounds good. All right, we got that done. Thank you, Brad. You need to
Okay.
go.
Thank you all.
Thank
See you.
Thanks, Brad.
See you tomorrow night.
Good night, Brad.
Go ahead and tell, Tim
I'm
about
I'm
the-
just gonna look up the number of donors, because I'm not I think I know that number, but I just wanna, look it up. Okay, so Tim, are you sitting down? 181 donors, $53,510.
Amazing.
That is
yeah.
great.
Isn't that
And-
extraordinary?
That
And
tells
we
you a
thought the
lot.
We thought the last time was extraordinary. This is amazing.
Well, the wonderful thing is, I think that the library happening is having a boosting effect. That's fantastic.
I think so
Oh,
too.
I just saw, so I sent a press release about the public forum to, just got MERS back and a couple of other newspaper reporters. And I've often included information about the fundraising in press releases, and
Mhm.
it's never gotten published. And so he wrote a nice article. It's in the Recorder, online, and I just saw it just before this meeting. And he talks about the public forum tomorrow, and then the last thing in the article is the success of the Giving Day. So I was
Wow.
like, well, finally,
Great.
we're good enough to have made the news,
That's great.
Yes.
That is extraordinary. Hey, Mary, before we wrap up, Michelle, is it okay if I just ask one quick question before we
Yeah,
go
go ahead.
tonight?
Mhm.
Do we know when we might hear back from town council?
So I emailed her on Friday. I hadn't heard back.
Okay.
I'll keep, so we haven't heard back yet.
Okay, all right, that's what I thought, but I mean, I assumed that if we had, that would have been on our agenda, but I
Yeah.
just wanted to check.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, and I'll put it on the agenda for the 22nd, just so that
Just
we
in
have the
case.
placeholder.
Yeah.
Yep,
And I'll put public comment period. I'll start putting that in the agendas on shutesbury.org so that
Okay.
people know to expect that.
Okay.
yeah. Maybe not the same next time if we have executive session though.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's true.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I think that could just be really confusing if we just wait another month for that.
Okay.
I think.
Yep,
Is
that's
that okay
fine.
with you,
Yep.
Michelle?
Yeah, I think it would be better to have the policy
Okay,
and then
Okay.
start putting it on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it then. Unless anybody says.
All right,
okay. Oh, feel
Thanks,
better,
Sarah.
Kate.
thank you. All right, take care, everybody. Thanks so
All right,
much.
Good night. Thank you.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Night.
Okay.
However brief it was.
That's all right. You got here just in time to keep a quorum, so that's
Ah.
good. All right, good.
Okay,
All right, thanks, Tim.
okay. Good night, everybody.